Simple. You work your entire life to get to the National Hockey League, to get to moments like this. Game six, do or die, home ice, bitter rival, Saturday night, national TV prime time. This is what it's all about if you are a sports fan. I quote it all the time. There's a clip in the 3 Days in October documentary about the Red Sox coming back against the Yankees in 2004, where Spike Lee's on the field talking to the PTI guys before the game. And they're talking to Spike Lee, what would you do if you were doing a movie? Could you write a movie like this? And Spike like gathers himself, like he knows he's about to spit some wisdom. And Spike says, deadpan into the camera, that's what the great thing about sports is. It's not fake. It's not made up. A TV, a movie, all that stuff is fake. This is real. This is why we do this. I got the Leafs and Lightning on over my right shoulder. That's another game rife with narratives and opportunities, trying to see what the Maple Leafs are made of. And we are going to find out a lot about what the Rangers are about tonight. Because let's be frank, the last time I checked in with you guys, when Andrew and I checked in with you guys on Monday of last week, we felt pretty good. The Rangers had won the first two games of the series. They didn't play poorly in the game last Saturday in game three where they lost in overtime. And it felt okay. The Rangers hadn't gotten outside of their game. The Devils hadn't really controlled play all that much. But for the most part, you felt okay. And since then, things have really unwound. It doesn't get simpler than this. It really doesn't. If you do not score, you cannot win. The Rangers have not scored a goal in 2 games. They have 1 goal in their last 3 games. They have not scored a power play goal in 3 games. It's really that simple. You can have the best goalie in the world, like the Rangers do right now. Shesterkin is leading the entire NHL playoffs in goals saved above expected, and they are still trailing in this series. It really doesn't get better than this if you are a sports fan. I have been in anguish all day since I woke up. I woke up today with a headache and a stomach ache with the anxiety of this game. I woke up 2 or 3 times during the course of the night last night because of how much dread I felt about this. This isn't like last year against the Penguins where I felt like the Rangers were the better team and that if things got hot, they would be able to make up a 3-1 game differential. Right now, you have a real argument the Devils are a better team, and that means you have to play a perfect hockey game. It's that simple. When you are playing a team that's better than you, you are not allowed to make mistakes. And the Rangers have made a handful of, and a handful, that's generous. They have made copious mistakes the last few games. We talk about it. We talked about it coming into the series. The key for me was, would you make the Devils play a 200-foot game to mitigate their speed? If you make the Devils go the length of the ice every single time to go, they got to go the full 200 feet. That makes it a lot more challenging on them. They're not able to use their speed as effectively if they have to break out from their own zone continuously over and over again. You saw it the last few games. The Devils get a lead. They're able to engage in that 2-1-2 in the neutral zone and force the Rangers to go through them. And instead of dumping it in and going to work, the Rangers stubbornly try and skate through it, pass laterally through it, invites the Devils to step up in the neutral zone, takes away space, makes passes through the neutral zone more difficult, makes it really difficult to get to offense. I mean, you saw it in game four the other day. 2 scoring chances in the, excuse me, 2 shots on goal in the third period of a game they were trailing 3-0. Just unacceptable performance on Thursday. You want to give them game three, okay, you kind of got sucker punched. You weren't expecting that. You lost in overtime. That's fine. The effort in game four, pretty poor, and the effort in game five, pretty poor. I don't care what Gallant says about how he felt good about they lost 4-0. You as a coach cannot go up to the podium and say our effort was good in a game you lost 4-0. I don't care. It is not a good look. And Gallant has tried. He's done it both ways. He went out there after the game they lost 4-0, excuse me, after they lost 3-1 in game three. He went out there and said, we need to be better. We need to be a lot better. That was a disgrace. That was embarrassing. He did the Hardo card. Then, after game four, where they lost worse and played worse, he did well, I liked our game. He's trying. He's pushing every single button he possibly can to try and inspire a good reaction out of this group because he's got a finger on it. He understands that it is fragile right now. when you haven't scored in 2 games, your group is going to be fragile. They are going to be paranoid. They are going to be stressed. We talk about this all the time. If you are too focused on trying to do the right thing, you will make a mistake. When you make mistakes, it's typically because you're distracted. What are you distracted with? You're preoccupied. You're worried about not making a mistake, and that's when you make a mistake. You think about the shorthanded goal they gave up to Dawson Mercer. That's an example. The power play has not worked well in 2-3 games. Everybody's on edge, gripping their sticks a little bit too tight, whipping passes a little bit too hard. Pass goes the other way, shorthanded goal. The Devils are a good team. This is not to diminish what they've accomplished. They are a very good team. I thought they would give the Rangers a hard time. I thought the Rangers would outlast them. I picked the Rangers to win the series in 7 games. But the Rangers have made it easy on the Devils. Okay, flat out, they have made it easy on the Devils the last few games because they have not put pressure on their goalie. And to be fair, Akira Schmidt's played well. He's, I think, third in goal save above expected. If you look at Evolving Hockey's model, he's played well. Don't get me wrong. The Rangers have not put him under extreme duress. They have not pressured him on the power play. I know the lines have gotten juggled. I imagine the power play units might get juggled. God help Larry Brooks for suggesting to put Trouba on the power play. Yeah, he'll shoot, but he's not going to hit the net. The entire point of having a facilitator quarterback the power play is that they can see things happening. All Trouba thinks when he has the puck in the offensive zone is shoot, 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 shoot. That's a good idea in theory. The Rangers are a little hesitant to shoot. They don't shoot often enough. Let's get somebody who shoots first out there. On the other hand, that should be one of the forwards. Fox is their best skater, okay? This is not up for debate anymore. After the no-show Mika Zibanejad's given through 5 games, you don't get to say he's the argument and what Panarin's... He's not in the argument anymore. Fox is their best skater. Shesterkin is their best player. Those 2 guys are going to carry a lot of the load in this game. I imagine you are going to see a really, really short bench in the game tonight because they don't have room for error anymore. I would be surprised if you saw the 4th line with more than 11, 12 minutes. I imagine you are going to see a 30-minute game from Fox and Lindgren. They need it tonight. It's really that simple. When you think about the keys to this game, you have to mitigate the Devils in transition. When the Devils get going downhill on you, and the thing that makes the Devils so frustrating to play against, when they start getting you into that mistake, those mistakes, those bad habits in the neutral zone, when you're passing left, you're passing right in the neutral zone, they're able to step up, break it up, go the other way, and they only have to go half the length of the ice instead now. Instead of having to go the entire length of the ice, like we were talking about in the first part of our episode here, where dump it in, make their defenseman turn around, break out against your forecheck, and if you forecheck them in long enough, you can force them into a mistake. Instead, the Devils have been forcing the Rangers into mistakes. Bad turnovers in the neutral zone, passing laterally, or when they gain the zone and they gain the offensive zone, nobody's there. Somebody gains the zone with speed, they have to slam on the brakes, wait for help to join them in the offensive zone, and there's no play. There's no play. And against a fast team like the Devils, if you stop skating and come to a full stop or close to a full stop, they are going to be able to pounce on you. That's what's frustrating about this. The Rangers are capable of playing a good game against the Devils. They did it the first 2 games of this series. And for 3 straight games, they have run into this kind of stubborn, we're going to do it our way, we're going to do it our way, we're going to do it our way. And that's why I blame the coach to some degree, because they have effectively made the same mistakes 3 games in a row now. 1 game, okay, it's a fair series. You're playing a good team. They're going to have opportunities. You have to be able to counterpunch. It's similar, and I won't say it's exactly the same as playing Tampa Bay last year, because Vasilevsky, if you're getting goalied by, I can accept that. That's one of the best goalies in the entire world. He hasn't been great in the playoffs this year for Tampa Bay, and still 0-0 over there. Hasn't been great for Tampa Bay this year, but last year, that's best goalie in the world, 2 straight Stanley Cup Finals appearances, won a Conn Smythe. Andrei Vasilevsky is superb. Akira Schmidt's very unproven. Less than 30 career NHL games. Don't get me wrong. He has given the Rangers a hard time, but they are not making his life difficult. This is your kitchen sink game. There are no more excuses. There are no more games. I know everybody saw that really bad quote Patrick Kane gave to the media the other day about how we were so excited to be here. We just kind of felt like, hey, we're waiting for the game to come to us because we feel like we should win. That's great. Whatever you want to say to make yourself feel better about it, sure, but This is your kitchen sink game. If you lose because you got outplayed, I can accept that. That's the nature of sports. You get outplayed, you get beat, you can live with that. If you no show again, that's an indictment of everybody from the top, the coach, all the way down to the last defenseman. Because they have looked poor for 3 games in a row now. Not just bad, not just meh, poor. They are not pressuring a goalie with not a lot of experience. They are not forcing the Devils to make good decisions in the offensive or the defensive zone. The Devils, when they get going downhill on you, that's where they kill you. When they only have to go 120, 150 feet from the neutral zone into the offensive zone, that's where they start to pounce on you because they don't have to go the full length of the ice. They can catch you flat-footed. That's another component of this is the Devils are really good at going in a straight line. And if you turn the puck over in the neutral zone, you're going to be flat-footed. You got to readjust your feet to start back skating or to turn entirely around. And when they're going full speed ahead at you forward, you're not going to be able to skate as fast as they are forward as you can backwards. That's just the simple. Otherwise, everybody would be able to skate backwards at a great speed. They can't. And for the Rangers, other than pressuring the goaltender, for me, it's about the decision making. I've talked about it a lot. I have been talking about this for years. I have written about this for years. I have talked about this on multiple podcasts, not just Liberty Blue, not just Upper Bowl GM, on other people's pods. I've been talking about this for years. I really like the Rangers players. I have a Zibanejad jersey. I have a Panarin jersey. I have a Fox jersey. I have a Lafreniere jersey. I have a Hedel jersey. I really like this group of guys, but they have flaws. And their flaws, the problem with their flaws is they have very redundant traits and skill sets. They have a lot of pass first guys. They don't have a lot of guys who are willing to go to the net and just go down and try their hardest. They have a lot of guys who are stubborn, who insist on playing the same way. And when they don't get what they want, you get efforts like that. I think about the series against Ottawa in 2017, where the Rangers would be trailing, their defense would get them killed in those games early, and then they would try to come back with a torrid second and third period. I think about Game 6 against Ottawa a lot. I was there. I felt that should have been the end of the Alain Vigneault era right there, and that's 6 years ago now, and that's Mika Zibanejad 6 years ago. And that he'd be 24 or 25. I forget if he's 30 or 29 or 30 right now. He'd be either 23 or 24 6 years ago in that series. The same habits are there. He does not drive to the net. He is inclined to do the crossing pass to a shooter or to take that shot from the high slot or the top of the circle. It's a decent shot. He's got a good shot, so it's why you're okay with him taking that. In the playoffs, you need your best players to be in the mix. You think about Tampa Bay all these years. You think about Kucherov. You think about Palat, who's now in New Jersey. You think about Killorn. You think about Cirelli. You think about Ross Colton. You think about these guys who are around the net making these dirty goals happen. That is where you win in the playoffs. It is great to have superstar talent, but if your superstars are not as physically inclined or just aren't as good as the other team's best players. And there's a real argument the Devils' best players are better than the Rangers' best players. I had that conversation, I want to say, in late March after they got Tarasenko and Kane. I still felt at least Jack Hughes was better than Zibanejad. Hughes was better than Hischier. Panarin, Kreider, definitely better than Mercer and and Palat. But Timo Meier in the mix, and I know Meier hasn't really made himself felt in this series on the score sheet, but he's been a pain in the ass. He's been annoying guys on the Rangers. He got Shesterkin to, I don't know how Timo Meier got a penalty for that, but Timo Meier's been involved. He's been annoying, and that's making their presence felt. The Rangers, the guys who've been making their presence felt in that being annoying kind of way, Trouba, Gaudreau, Vesey, Trocheck, Kreider to some extent, but you need your top guys to be assholes. It is really hard to be good in this league when your best players are not assholes. You think about Nathan McKinnon, you think about Mikko Rantanen, those guys will put their heads down and bully you to get to the net. It's that simple. They're getting to the net because they know that's where goals are scored. Hope everybody is nervously enjoying their Saturday afternoon. I have been dreadfully anxious about this game since I woke up this morning, since I went to bed last night, to be honest with you. I thought I would not have to worry about this till at least the second round. I thought The Devils are a good team. They don't have the experience, and worst case, your trump card, you've got the best goalie in the world in Shesterkin. You'll be all right. On the other hand, we actually have reality. Now, you can't even start thinking about a game 7 in this case. I know there are people who are like, all you got to do is win, and then anything. If you start worrying about game 7, that is when bad things happen. You cannot look ahead to any extent. I'm going back to the John Tortorella school here. One shift, one period, one game. String together a few good shifts in a row, you get a good period. String a few good periods in a row, you get a good game. You string a few good games in a row, you got a good series. That should be your goal here. You don't need to make the highlight reel play. You don't need to make a special play. You need to make more good plays than the other team and give yourself a chance to win. It is that simple. You give yourself a chance to win and you lose, you can live with that. You do what you did the last 3 games, you can't live with that. And that's really what it comes down to for me. For all of my complaints about this group, about the way it's been constructed, the GM's priorities, what the coach values, this is a solid group. I thought this group was better than it's shown, and it probably is better than it's shown. Of course, short playoff series, high variance, all that good stuff. I understand that. This group is more talented than it has shown. I would like to say this group has it in them to win this game. My concern is that they've no-showed 2 games in a row now. You can live with the performance in game 3. Yeah, you can live with the performance in game 3 where you lose in overtime. That's acceptable. You played them more or less to a push. Next goal wins. You lost 2-1 in overtime. You can live with that. The effort in game 4, game 5, not acceptable. When you are doing the same thing over and over again and it is not working and you are not adapting because you are stubborn or because you think you know better, that is where I get frustrated. These are very talented hockey players. These people got here by their God-given abilities and their ability to refine their abilities. It's not just enough to be talented. It takes a lot to get to this level. The Rangers got a lot of really, really, really high-end players. I don't need Hart Trophy candidate Artemi Panarin. I don't need 100-point Mika Zibanejad. I don't need Conn Smythe, Patrick Kane. I don't need 2019 playoffs Vladimir Tarasenko. I need one good game, top to bottom. Simple plays in your own zone on defense. Forwards, come back into your own zone. Short breakout passes. Exit skating out of the zone instead of trying to pass out of the zone. Passing out of the zone invites the Devils to step up in the neutral zone, and it gives you less avenues to advance the puck. When you get into that problem, that's where the Rangers die. They have one defenseman who is good at generating zone exits. That would be Adam Fox. Other than that, you have Ryan Lindgren, who plays with Adam Fox, and K'Andre Miller, who will skate the puck out of trouble, but is not great at passing the puck out of trouble yet. Then you have Trouba, you have Schneider, you have Mikkola, who are all pretty turnover prone because they opt to play off the window. The window is the safer play, but it also invites the teams to encroach. They don't have to go as far. When you play the puck off the window, they recover in the neutral zone. They only have to go half the length of the ice. You are playing for survival instead of playing for competitiveness. In the neutral zone, forward, forward, forward. Instead of trying to make that horizontal pass as soon as you enter the offensive zone, in deep. Force the Devils defensemen to turn their backs to you, to play the puck, to move it behind the net or up the boards. Force them to play perfect hockey. The more pressure you put on them, the more likely they are to make a mistake. The Devils have a good defensive unit. I won't say great, good. Individually, you think Dougie Hamilton, one of the 10 best defensemen in the entire league. Okay. Kevin Ball, big, physical, slow. You can target him if you force him to make plays. Damon Severson, same deal. He's not big, but you can force him into mistakes if you put pressure on him. Ryan Graves, same exact thing. He's similar to Ball, where he's big, he's hulking. You can force him into making mistakes. You think about Siegenthaler. Siegenthaler, underrated defenseman, but somebody who's not going to be able to skate the puck out of danger on his own. He needs help. He needs people to pass the puck to. So that's my spiel here. when you have opportunities to get the puck the length of the ice, it's got to go in. And this is me. I preach possession. I preach gain the zone with control, gain the zone. The way the Devils play, you cannot expect to be successful that way. The Devils want you to skate the puck into the zone because they swarm you. If they force you into passing horizontally, someone's going to step up and take that pass away. Or as soon as the person receives the pass, they're going to be under pressure and they're going to be inclined to turn it over because they're under immediate pressure when they receive the puck. Can't believe we're back here again. I was expecting them to beat the Devils. I won't say I would have banked on it, but not to the degree I expected them to beat the Penguins last year. I full on said if they didn't beat the Penguins last year, that was a disgrace because that Penguins team was not that good. And it took a lot going the right way for the Rangers to beat that Penguins team. When you want to talk about the goaltending that the Penguins had, Crosby missing multiple games, it took a lot to go right. They were better than Carolina. I have no issue saying that last year. Right now, you have made the Devils confident, and that's what's concerning. When a young team gets confidence like the Devils, stupid strength. They don't know any better. They think, oh, this is kind of easy. We're pretty good at this. They pressure you. They start playing fearless, and that's when you get in trouble because the Rangers have been playing nervous and the Devils have been playing fearless. The Devils are a good team. Do not get me wrong. The Devils are a very talented team. You talk about multiple picks in the top 10 of the draft. They still got guys on the way. Luke Hughes has yet to play. You just think, for the next decade, you're going to be looking across the river, Nico Hischier, Jack Hughes, and that's not even everybody. They still got Luke Hughes. They've got Simon Nemec. They got Dawson Mercer. If they keep Timo Meier or Jesper Bratt or both, there's so much talent on that team. So, and the problem for the Rangers is your group is getting old. Panarin is older than 30. Kreider is older than 30. Trocheck will be 30. Zibanejad will be 30. And those are four of your top six. We came into this year all saying the Rangers need to figure out who the top six right wings are going to be. Kakko got a month. He got demoted. Lafreniere got a month, got demoted. We saw a lot of Barclay Goodrow. We saw a lot of Jimmy Vesey. We saw some Dryden Hunt. We saw a lot of guys who were not top six forwards get real run because that Rangers did not want to give their young guys opportunities because they were trying to win every single game. They did that. Gerard Gallant said it. They're not here to learn. If they don't know already, they don't know. And he threw his hands up in a very defeated way to the what's the word? Chagrin? No, to the dismay. Dismay. There we go. To the dismay of everybody who said, well, you need Kakko and Lafreniere to figure it out now because when the playoffs come, if they can't figure it out in the regular season, they're probably not going to figure it out in the playoffs either. That's what's so frustrating about this. Some of this was avoidable. You had 3 years. This is Lafreniere's third season in the league, Kakko's fourth season in the league. You had time to get these guys ready for the lights, to just let them figure it out in the top six. And if they sink, they sink. But they needed to do that because now you're at a situation where your top six has been effectively neutered by the other team. Nico Hischier has had Zibanejad in his pocket all series. That's subject to change at any time if Zibanejad wants to get going. But Hischier has put a lot of pressure on Zibanejad. The Rangers' second line with Trocheck in the middle, when Trocheck's been in the middle of the second line, but when Trocheck's been out there, Jack Hughes has been able to more or less control play against Trocheck. And then third line for third line, the kid line hasn't really been able to get anything going at 5-on-5. And that was kind of always the ace in the hole for the Rangers, was if you can get the kid line out there against the Devils' bottom six, you'd be able to make things happen because the kid line is inclined to cycle a puck, forecheck, high to low, point shots, rebounds, the ugly stuff that really translates well to the playoffs. It's why they were so effective last year. Inclined to think that would work, but it hasn't manifested in this series. And it's ironic because coming into this series, I was most concerned about the defense. I thought the Rangers would be able to score 4 goals a game, no problem, because the Devils' goaltending is pretty bad. But because this series has taken a different complexion than I expected, it's been a lot tighter. There's been less space. the Devils have really done a good job of forcing the Rangers to play the way the Devils want them to. On Monday's episode this past week, you heard me and Andrew talking about how the Rangers were making the Devils play the way the Rangers wanted to. Not a lot of up and down, incremental passes, dump, recovery, forecheck. The last two games, there's been a lot of neutral zone turnovers. There's been a lot of one and dones, gaining the offensive zone, low danger shot on net. The goalie either makes the save or the Devils go the other way. And it's hard to score when you don't maintain zone time in the playoffs. You think about all the times in this series, the Rangers have gained the zone, wrist shot from the top of the circles, wrist shots from the point, wrist shots from the half wall. And those aren't dangerous, especially if there's no traffic. The first two games, the Rangers scored almost every single one of those 10 goals with somebody in Schmidt's face. The Devils defensemen are not physically imposing around the net mouth. You need to be out leveraging them. You need to be forcing those defensemen into clearing you out of the crease, baiting them into penalties. You need to be in that dangerous area of the ice, controlling play. You have guys who are good at that. Kreider and Tarasenko are horses. Those are big-bodied dudes who need to be out leveraging those defensemen. Trocheck, same thing. Zibanejad, you're out there with you're out there with Tarasenko and Kreider. If they're not in that dangerous area, you need to be whipping that puck in and aiming for sticks to get rebounds. Okay, and I'm looking over the corner of my screen. Look at the Leafs Lightning game. That's a commercial. We're about probably 25, 30 minutes away from puck drop. You know, ESPN likes to say the game starts at 8. Probably won't start till 8:05, 8:10. They'll do the drop in where they'll go to the booth. I assume it's Sean McDonough and Ray Ferraro. They'll throw it to the studio. The studio will go to commercial. They'll come back to the guys in the booth. They'll do the national anthem, 30-second commercial. Then we'll have puck drop. So puck drop probably won't be till 8:10, and I won't take you up till 8:10. I'll probably just do till 8 o'clock, so that way I have time. Recompose myself, grab a brown paper bag, and hyperventilate. I need it. Mika Zibanejad. Game 6 against Pittsburgh last year, I said 93 legacy game. Game 6 against Carolina, I said Zibanejad legacy game. Mika Zibanejad, don't wake up until game 6. 1 through 5, not high pressure enough. I need you on the stat sheet tonight, Mika Zibanejad. I need it. I don't want it. I need Zibanejad on the score sheet tonight. If the Rangers are going to win, more than likely, it starts with the power play. That is the foundation of everything the Rangers want to do. You more than likely are going to need 3 goals to win this game, at least. If you want to say 4, okay, for the purposes of this argument, you need 3. That means you need 1 from the power play, 2 at 5-on-5. You don't worry about what the Devils are going to do. You need 3. Not 1, not 2. You need 3. Shesterkin is going to do everything in his power to keep the Devils off the score sheet. He registered a fucking shot on goal the other day. That's the first time I've cursed 30 minutes into this. But even Shesterkin got a shot on goal before some of the guys in that game the other night. He was doing his best to try and score. And it's why building a team this way that's so reliant on the goaltender to stand on their head is difficult to win. You can play a 0-0 hockey game forever. You could build a literal brick wall in your crease in front of your net, and if the puck never enters, it will stay 0-0 forever. You could have the greatest goalie ever. You can have a literal brick wall, a literal brick and mortar wall in front of your net. The puck could never go in, but the game will not end. You need to have a requisite base of scoring. The average score per game this year in the NHL, I want to say it was 3.9. It might have been 3.8. I forget. The last time I looked, there was still like a week or 2 left in the season. That might have changed. But goal scoring is up, okay, across the league. Highest goal scoring year in quite a while. Most power plays in the playoffs we've seen in a while. Highest rate of power plays being scored on. I was reading about that in The Athletic today. 25% of the power plays this playoffs have been scored on. That's a really high number. That is effectively what the Oilers operated at last year. The Oilers, I want to say, were a 26% team on the power play last year in the regular season. That's a really good number. So if everybody is playing at that level. That means you got to meet that threshold. That means 1 out of every 4 you need to score on the power play. None of this 3 games without a power play goal. That stuff is just not acceptable. You assembled this team with one goal in mind: winning the Stanley Cup. You do not go and get Tarasenko and Kane and Mikkola and Tyler Mott if you don't think you're a Stanley Cup team. Look, we have a whole summer to litigate, relitigate, argue, whatever. I'm still worried about this game tonight. It's why I haven't made any proclamations. It's why I haven't said, I want this, I want that, this person, that person. There's still hockey left to be played. I am not writing this team off yet. They have the best goalie in the world. He's going to defend the net on 7th Avenue twice tonight. There are no other teams on the planet Earth that can say, we have the best goalie in the world. He's going to defend our net 3 periods, try and score on him the way the Rangers do. That is the greatest of luxuries when you don't have to worry about the goaltending. You think about some of these teams in the playoff. You think about the Wild, the Maple Leafs, the Hurricanes, the Kings, the Vegas Golden Knights, the Kraken, the Oilers, not the Jets, the Leafs. You think about all of these teams that are in the playoffs, the Panthers, all of these teams that are in the playoffs, and they're praying with every fiber of their being, our goalie can't give up 4. Don't give up 4. Don't give up 4. And some of these teams are limping along. The Panthers forcing 7 games with no goaltending, remarkable. And Bob's had moments in this series where he's been pretty good. Lyon. So you have the best goalie in the world, or one of the best if you're an Islander fan watching and you want to argue for Sorokin, or you're a Stars fan, you want to argue for Ottinger. All right, one of the best goalies in the world. Okay. One of the best goalies in the world. Go pick him up. And you don't even really need to pick him up. 3 goals. 3 goals. You were a really good offensive team the last 2 months of the regular season at 5-on-5. You tripled down on offense, bringing in Tarasenko and Kane. You could have gotten more two-way guys, like a Nino Niederreiter type, who would be more inclined to play ugly, forecheck. You went for high-end guys. You went for a playmaker in Kane, shooter in Tarasenko. You doubled down on offense, saying we can outscore all our defensive issues, and worst case, our goalie will bail us out. That only works if they score, and they have not made themselves present. I like what Tarasenko's brought. I think they need to be getting him into a shooting position on the first power play unit. I don't care about what Patrick Kane did during the Obama administration, the Trump administration. It's 2023. They have bent over backwards trying to accommodate him. Tarasenko on the first power play, Zibanejad on the circle, Panarin, Kreider, Fox. Let's do what was working. The Ranger power play was really good from mid-February when they acquired Tarasenko. I want to say they acquired Tarasenko like February 16th, 17th. I know the first game was against the Kraken, and I don't want to be a bad host and look it up while I'm on and not really talk. So they had a really good power play in the month of February up until mid-March when Kane got there. And then the power play changed because they were accommodating a different half-wall player. They moved Zibanejad off the shooting position into the middle where Trocheck was. They took Trocheck off entirely. So we got about 10 minutes left here. I'm going to be very straightforward. This is why you do this, for moments like this. You are going to turn this Rangers game on and hope to see something you have never seen before. I'm sure the pregame stuff ESPN has, there'll be clips from Adam Henrique, there'll be clips from Mark Messier, there will be Marty Brodeur, there'll probably be a Henrik Lundqvist. Rangers Devils got some history. There might be something from the 2008 playoff series. There might be something from the 2007 playoff series. All I know is none of that shit matters. None of the previous 5 games matters. This game tonight is all that matters. I don't want to hear about Game 7. You got to win tonight to earn a Game 7. If you're worried about a Game 7, you shouldn't go out there tonight because you are not ready to play in this game tonight. I hope that crowd is loud. The crowd for Game 4 was pretty bad. I'm going to be honest with you. That crowd, as soon as the Devils scored, that crowd was out of that game. And I get it. The Rangers are a luxury good. Their target audience is the upper middle class to rich people. They don't want the riffraff in there. The Rangers are a luxury good. They market the team along the mindset of, you never know who's going to be at the Garden. It might be Timothy Chalamet. It might be Michael J. Fox. It could be Henrik Lundqvist. It could be Ryan Reynolds. That's great. People better be leaving that game and then going into the Dwayne Reed in Penn Station to get lozenges, how bad their voices are hurting when that game ends. It's one thing to be worried, nervous. It's another thing to be mute. You need to get that group going. The Rangers are a notorious slow starting team. You would hope that in game 6, an elimination game 6 at home, national TV, Saturday night prime time, you would hope that's all they need to get the juices going. If you don't have the juices going for a moment like this, you probably shouldn't be in the NHL. If you're a little too jacked up, you're nervous, I'd rather that than you not being ready for this moment. This is what it is all about. Every single one of the cliches the hockey men love to talk about. Who's making the big save? Who's blocking the shot? Who's throwing the big hit? Waiting for Jacob Trouba to make his presence felt in the series other than grabbing somebody in a scrum after a whistle. Make a play defensively. Hit the net with a shot. God forbid do something on the second power play. I beg of you, Jacob Trouba, do something. Please. Okay. We're 9 minutes to go. Man, it doesn't ever get old, man. I've been doing this a while now. I've been doing my usual routine every time since the playoffs started. I've only worn Rangers t-shirts. I've only worn Rangers t-shirts for like a month and a half. I've been getting ready mentally for this. I didn't believe in the roster construction, but I wanted to believe. I was willing after the first 2 games to say, okay, other than Boston, I'm not worried. Now, tonight, game 6, world's most famous arena. Are you ready for this moment? It's that simple. Are you ready? To quote the great philosopher Paul Levesque, are you ready? Keys to the game. Start okay. I don't even need a great start. Do not let the Devils get a lead in the first 5 minutes. You let the Devils get a lead in the first 5 minutes, this game is going to sound like a death march. Okay? That crowd is going to be deflated. You cannot let the Devils score first. That is a sensitive crowd right now. And I know a lot of Ranger fans were complaining about Sean McDonough talking about this during game 4. That crowd was dead quiet. Even at the start of the game, that crowd was not that loud. And Sean McDonough kept talking about it. And I saw people, why is Sean McDonough talking about it? It's quiet. This is supposed to be an iconic arena with a diehard fan base. And I get it. The vast majority of normal Ranger fans of modest means are not going to be able to afford it. I was checking throughout the day as up to about 6:55, like 10 minutes before I decided, okay, I'm going to do this stream instead. I kept looking. The cheapest ticket I saw to get in was like $280, and I couldn't justify that for a game 6. For a game 7, I would do that. Last year, I went to game 7 against Pittsburgh. It was like $240. That I could justify. A game 6, no. Because if they lose, that's it until the fall. I'll be miserable seeing that minus 280 on my banking app, knowing that I paid to watch them lose an elimination game. I've seen them get eliminated before. I saw them get eliminated against Ottawa. It was not great. I really don't want to relive that again if I can help it. When I think about this series, the defining factor for me is the transition play. The Devils are one of, if not the best transition teams in the entire league. They are the single best team off of the rush in the entire league during the regular season. The Rangers, I want to say, were 14th, 13th, middle pack in both in rush opportunities and cycle opportunities. Those are the 2 main ones. There are other ones, but those are the 2 main ones. And the Devils were pretty low in cycle offense. You need to turn this game into a slog. This needs to look like a Big Ten West football game. This needs to look like Iowa, Nebraska. This needs to look like Iowa, Wisconsin. I want Kirk Ferentz to be smiling at his TV watching this game because of how little offense there is. You force the Devils to play the type of game you want to play. Short passes out of your own zone. Forwards coming back. Skating straight through the neutral zone, dumping the puck in, force the Devils defense to turn around, forecheck the hell out of them. Engage. Force the Devils to make some mistakes. The Devils have been forcing you into mistakes for 3 games now. The Rangers didn't play bad in game 3, but definitely more turnovers than the first 2. 5-minute warning. I'm trying to psych myself up here. I'm trying. I think the Rangers are going to win tonight. And that's me saying that. I am one of, if not the single most pessimistic person on the planet Earth when it comes to this godforsaken hockey team. 1 Stanley Cup since the start and America's entry to World War II. I don't want to hear about 1994. I don't want to hear about Mark Messier, Brian Leetch, Adam Graves. That's great. This group, tonight. What do you have for the Devils? Can you take the Devils into the deep end? Can you force them into making mistakes? Can you play a better game than them? You don't need to play a perfect game. You need to make fewer mistakes than the Devils. I talked about this in the preview episode. Do you have the discipline to play a smarter game than the Devils? Can you slow this down? Force them into playing a certain way? Or are you going to play the game on the Devils' terms? If you play the game on the Devils' terms, you are going to be in trouble. You are not situated. You don't have the talent. You assemble a roster and you coach to play a certain way. You cannot play other team styles and let them dictate the game and still feel good about it. It's really that straightforward. Yeah, the koozie fell off. Oh, well. Okay. I want to say I said 4-2. That was my score prediction at like 3 o'clock before I went and got my food. I think the Rangers are going to win tonight 4-2. I think you finally see Zibanejad get on the score sheet. I want to say the Rangers win tonight, and then we start worrying about a game 7, okay? You don't worry about a game 7 until you win game 6, because if you don't win game 6, there is no game 7. It is that straightforward. I don't want to hear anything about it. Win tonight. Get up for this moment. Play the best game you possibly can. This is what it is all about. That is what the great thing about sports is. You play to win the game. It is not made up. It is not fiction. It is not a movie. It is not a television show. You go out there, you impose your will, you use your abilities, and you make something happen. It is that straightforward. None of this, I don't want to hear about the referees. I don't want to hear about the NHL and the screw the Rangers button. Make it happen tonight. This group has too much talent to be scoring 0 goals consecutive games in a row. Okay. 0. Not 1, not 2. 0. 2 games in a row. Against the Devils team that is not great defensively. The Devils defense is great because they don't have to play a lot of defense. They control the puck a lot. They minimize the responsibility of their goaltenders and their defensemen. That's great. Put pressure on their defensemen. Pucks in deep. Force the defensemen to turn their backs to you. Forecheck, win board battles, engage the cycle to the point, shot, rebound, deflection, ugly goals tonight. This is a Jimmy Vesey kind of game. This is a Tyler Mott kind of game. I don't need anything flashy. I don't need anything sexy. Get on the damn score sheet. Get the crowd into the game. Get the rich people who are eating sushi or talking to their date or on Bumble or Hinge or Raya. Get those people to put their phone down and start yelling at what's going on the ice. Because it's a Saturday night in New York. If that game is not going well, that place will look like a preseason game with 10 minutes to go in the third period. Because it's a Saturday night in New York. Okay. 1 minute to go. Going to be a lot of that tonight. Breathe in, out. A lot of reminding myself of that. I am going to go grab a brown paper bag just in case I have to hyperventilate. I think the Rangers are going to win tonight. I might be saying that because I just don't want to accept that I have to start doing off-season content for both the Rangers and the Flames because off-season content, while fun, can be tedious. So from my lips to God's ears, Please win this hockey game. I beg. If this game goes particularly poorly or it goes well, I will more than likely jump on after the game 20, 30 minutes to just kind of riff, take away my thoughts. But good luck. Godspeed.